Scream 7 had some pretty solid kills in it, which gave me the itch to be crazy enough to rank every single Ghostface kill in the entire Scream franchise, and there are 58 of them. So let's do it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to Mad Blood. Now, first of all, let me know down in the comments down below what some of your favorite kills are in the Scream franchise. What did you think about Scream 7? Let me know. Would love to hear what you guys think. Now, even though the Scream franchise isn't exactly known for having the craziest kills, but especially, later in the franchise, we do get some wild ones without a doubt. But even in the more like subtle knife stab stuff, pretty much every single one of these movies, has its moments when it comes to the kills. The tension, the atmosphere around those death scenes really is top notch in a lot of cases, and that will be something I take into consideration as I go through this list. Now, a couple things I want to mention really quick are the majority of the kills that I'm going to talk about on this list come from the uncut versions of those particular movies if they are available. Then obviously there will be a ton of spoilers in this video, so you have been warned. So the categories for this tier list, though, are going to be right up at the top is Carnage Candy. Then after that is going to be It's a Scream, Baby. Then Decent Knife Wipe. Then Not in My Movie. And then last at the very bottom is Must Have Been a Virgin. All right, and just to kind of spice things up a little bit, I'm actually going to talk about the original Scream first, and at the very end of the video, we'll cover all the kills in Scream 7. So this should be fun, and just keep in mind also, obviously, there's a ton of kills, so I'm not going to talk about each of them for too long. I'll try my best to kind of keep them short. Sometimes that is definitely hard for me to do because I love talking about movies and all this stuff, but let's just get into it. So, of course, we're starting off by talking about the original Scream from 1996. And, of course, the first kill in the entire franchise outside Casey Becker's house, Steve Orth, her boyfriend, right? He's big. He's going to kick your ass. All that. But, going into this movie, you weren't 100% sure what to expect. How gory is this going to be? Is it going to be like Friday the 13th? Is it going to be like Halloween? Or just what's the flavor they're going to go with here? And it's pretty damn bloody right off the bat, especially in the uncut version of this movie. Steve out there by the pool, nice mood and atmosphere with all that, looks good. And yeah, this guy gets disemboweled by the pool eventually. And you're like, holy shit, you're kind of seeing all of his insides laying out there. It's definitely a gory moment and lets you know that whoever this killer is or killers, they're not messing around. Like, this is not a prank at all. Now, it's not the greatest kill. It's mainly, off screen. You just kind of see the aftermath of it. But there's some fun stuff to like here. And I will say with Steve's, I'm going to go with Decent Knife Wipe for Stevie. It's pretty bloody. But like I said, some of it's, off screen. First kill in the franchise, though. Very well known because of that. And yeah, I think it does some things well. But up next, yeah, we got to talk about Casey Becker, of course. Drew Barrymore, the iconic opening we don't really need to get into. I've covered that so many times in my videos of Scream and the franchise and everything. I mean, how much better could this be? Like, what a cat and mouse psychological moment. It's just so damn good. But this kill scene, it's such a great blend of like wittiness, humor, and also tension and atmosphere, but also it's heartbreaking too when her parents show up and they're kind of involved with the moment. They can hear her on the phone as she's being dragged away because her throat's been crushed. Like, it really hits you, man. It is a heartbreaking, crazy, gory ass moment. She gets stabbed at one point, she's getting choked, and then eventually, she's hung up on the tree and all of that. But I mean, the kill of Casey, Drew Barrymore in the opening to the original Scream, where else would it go other than at the top? It's got to be Carnage Candy. You know what I mean? It is just gruesome, brutal, heartbreaking, crazy. Like, what a kill scene. It's just absolutely insane. So the third kill in the original Scream is going to be Principal Himbry, the Fonz, of course. This one, it's a kind of a small moment, but I feel like it's kind of a surprising moment how Ghostface just kind of pops out. It's like, oh, damn, I wasn't expecting Ghostface to be on campus in the principal's office. You know, it's not a crazy one by any means, but his reaction has always kind of made me laugh. He's like, ah, like he's just screaming his head off and just doing all the fun things there with the kill. And of course, his death is very, very, very important because it sets up the most important parts at the end of the movie, because, you know, the kids are hearing like, holy shit, like the principal is hung up on the football field. Let's go check it out. And then the house just empties out and it's just kind of like eerie. There's only a few people left over, and it gives Ghostface the opportunity to just end this whole thing. It all just goes perfectly for them. And a lot of that has to do with Himbry's death. But, you know, yeah, I'm going to say decent knife wipe. Yeah, again, not incredible, but sets up the end. Also, his reaction's kind of hilarious, definitely. So, but next, damn, another good one, man. The original Scream. Not the goriest movie ever, but some of these kill scenes are just so iconic. So, of course, Tatum Riley. What a scene. Ghostface gets its name for the first time in this scene from her. We're seeing Ghostface being clumsy, you know, falling all over the place, getting beaten up a little bit. The strongest garage door in the history of garage doors, but you know, it's one of those, it's a little bit better, of course, than the uncut version of the movie, because you actually do get to see her head crushed in the old garage door there. But yeah, Tatum, I love this scene. I think it's easily one of the most iconic and memorable kills in this entire franchise. What a cool scene. Like, just filmed so well, pulled off so well. I got to put it in Carnage Candy. Yeah, Tatum's got to go up there for me. It's just so damn good. So moving right along, you know, not as good of a kill, obviously, but gets the job done and is a character who's likable. But it's going to be Kenny the cameraman, getting his throat slashed there. You know, and just that whole scene as Ghostface is just wrecking shit. There's not a lot of people left over. Gets surprised right there. You know, they're like, oh, damn it, I forgot. There's a delay on the cameras, and then boom, you're dead. But yeah, Kenny, you know, good character in the movie. Especially makes me laugh when Gail drives away and just tosses his ass off the van as she's driving away. That part's pretty funny. But of course, not an amazing kill by any means. But Kenny, I think you're going to have to go into just like not in my movie for me. Like I said, not a super memorable, crazy kill, but has some funniness to it, and it just kind of works. And again, I like how Gale just tosses his body off of the car there. So again, we're not talking about like Stu Macher's death and Billy's death. These are just Ghostface kills. So that's the end for the original Scream there as far as the kills go, because of course in the original you think there's a lot of people dead, but then they come back and blah blah blah. But the final two are Stu and Billy. So moving right along to Scream 2, right? Sequels, they gotta be bloodier. The kills need to be just more Carnage Candy. So, were they in the sequel? Well, we definitely had more kills in Scream 2, but let's get into it. So, the first one in Scream 2, of course, is in the opening, a different opening, but still fun. Introduces the Stab franchise and all that. Just a good time. So, yeah, the first one's gonna be Phil Stevens, Omar Epps, great actor. Cool to see him in a Scream movie. You know, another one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a recognizable face. What are they going to do with him? And yeah, they kill him off, of course. But yeah, he's hearing Ghostface in the stall next to him saying some weird things. And he's like, what is going on here? Puts his ear up to it and then wham, gets the knife right into the ear, which ends up killing him. And unfortunately for Phil Stevens, like, holy shit, he had to die on arguably the dirtiest, nastiest, stickiest bathroom floor you can possibly imagine. I would argue worse than like a gas station's bathroom floor in a lot of cases, especially in the guy's bathroom. I mean, movie theater bathrooms are kind of just nasty. So sucks for it. Hopefully Omar Epps, they cleaned it off a little bit for you. But anyways, Phil Stevens, actually always been a kill that I've enjoyed. Kind of unique. It's through the stall. And just a fun scene, but obviously not incredible. It's not going to be Carnage Candy or anything like that. But I think, Phil, you're going to go into decent knife wipe for me. Yeah, I would say that for Phil. So up next is going to be his date, you know, Jada Pinkett. Jada. A memorable one for sure. But yeah, got the whole scene where, she thinks that Phil is coming back. Ghostface is wearing Phil's outfit. She's talking to him. He's not responding. He's messing around. He's got the whole costume on like all the other people in the audience. Then she just starts getting stabbed. No pun intended, but yes, pun intended, I guess. Stabbed multiple times. I can't remember, 4 or 5 times. She's crawling up to the stage. People are like, what's going on? Is this a part of the show? And then they're eventually like, holy shit, I think this is real. This is kind of crazy. And then she dramatically just dies on the stage, and it, cuts right to the title card. It's fun. Is it like the greatest opening kill ever in this franchise's history and like that? No, it's not. But it's still a fun one. I gotta put it right next to Omar Epps', honestly. Decent knife wipe. I don't think it belongs in the bottom tier just because it's a fun overall scene involving her death. And I think it's kind of unique and just a good time. So moving right along though to, the icon, of course, CC Cooper in Scream 2, her death scene. Another one of those death scenes that is not crazy. Like, she doesn't die in some wild, memorable way, like some crazy later on in the franchise with the beer tap that we see in Scream 7 and all of that, or some unique way. No, it's kind of just a classic one of those, okay, Sarah Michelle Gellar, big star at the time. How are they going to utilize that character? What's going to happen here? Yeah, she's probably going to die, but a fun little chase scene, a little banter there with Ghostface on the phone, which is fun. It's in the sorority house, which I think adds just more of that college vibe to everything. But, gets chased upstairs, gets stabbed twice, and then tossed off the balcony. And I think it's just quick, not crazy, but it's effective. But something I really always think about with Cece's death is, yes, I wish she would have been in this franchise longer, of course, but the transition after she's dead, it's one of the best transitions, quick scenes in this entire franchise. She dies, the camera is focused on her on the ground, and then it blurs her, and then Ghostface goes into focus, wipes off the knife, but then like whooshes away into the night. And then Everclear's The Swing kicks in, which has a really damn good opening part of the song. Works so well in this movie, makes the movie feel so 90s. It reminds you once again, Scream is brutal and absolutely unforgiving, but also fun and witty and just a good time nonetheless. Just a small little subtle thing I wanted to point out with Cece's death that I think is a lot of fun and elevates that whole scene. And every time I put on Scream 2, I look forward to that specific moment in particular. So I actually think Cece, it's Sarah Michelle Gellar that elevates it. She's amazing in this scene and that transition, and being tossed off the balcony like that at a sorority while other people are just having fun, enjoying being in their early 20s. It's kind of a holy shit moment, you know what I mean? And a lot of fun. So I'm actually going to put Cece into It's a Scream, baby. So there you go, Cece. Now again, this is a huge list. If I thought about all these kills for the next 3 months, would I have some of these in other spots? Sure, maybe, but just give me a break here with some of these if you don't agree, because some of these I feel very confident about. Some of them they could go either way. They're kind of in the middle, but keep that in mind. But yeah, CC, It's a Scream, baby. Let's go. So up next, man, speaking of up next, is Randy Meeks. One of the best characters this franchise has ever and will ever see. A character, I've talked about this before on my franchise ranking, my reviews of Scream 2. Anytime I'm talking about Randy, it comes up quite a bit. Why the hell did you kill off Randy in Scream 2? He would have made the sequel so much better. Probably should have killed off Dewey. Yes, we love all of them. For me personally, Randy just would have elevated things, man. Can you imagine Randy actually being a real part of Scream 3 in Hollywood, not just on a video camera for a few seconds? Like, come on, damn. But this kill, now I get, having stakes is great, taking a risk, shocking people, amazing. I love all that. But if you're going to kill Randy, the horror movie rule guy, the guy that just popped after the original Scream, you gotta do it in a better way than this. He's on the phone with Ghostface. and then gets yanked into the van. He just puts his back up to the van like an idiot, gets pulled in, and mostly just gets killed off screen. Yeah, Ghostface is just going to town on him, which apparently I guess is Billy Loomis's mom doing this particular kill. I guess you could argue that's lipstick on his, I think it's his hand, maybe. Still debatable. It doesn't 100% look like lipstick, but she does say later in the movie, got a little knife happy. But still, should have killed Randy in a better way. Could have used the film school, maybe one of the theater rooms if that exists, or just something. Had a chase scene, a cat and mouse moment with Randy. Draw it out a little bit. He's such a great character. Pulled into a van, killed off screen mostly, then looking like a red damn snow cone afterwards. A big miss for me, honestly. And I get it's not the worst scene as far as kills go in the franchise, but I kind of hate this scene. I kind of hate that they did it in this way. And because of this, I'm going to put Randy into must have been a virgin. Not only because, yeah, he probably was still a virgin, but still, yeah, it's such a miss for me, man. I bet if you put Wes Craven, rest in peace, back then, Scream 3, Scream 4, around that time, if you put a if you put a lie detector test up to him and asked him, like, do you think killing off Randy ultimately was probably a mistake? I bet on a lie detector test, he would probably say yes. It was probably a mistake overall. But anyways, moving on from Randy, we're going to move on to a couple randos instead of Randy, which is, they're kind of randos. The two cops that are watching, Sid trying to take care of her. And of course, do a shitty job because cops in Scream movies are pretty damn bad at their job. So up first is going to be Officer Andrews, and we'll talk about Officer Richards. So Officer Andrews, they're in the car, they're driving away with Hallie and Sid, and then, Ghostface breaks the window, slits his throat. Pretty gruesome throat slit there, but, nothing to really write home about or anything like that. So, yeah, I think his is going to be not in my movie just because, it's on screen, at least. It's pretty damn bloody, and it's kind of a little bit of a jump scare, I guess you could say, but, it's definitely not a great kill. It could definitely go into must have been a virgin, but whatever. I think it's fine there. So, up next is going to be Officer Richards. A surprisingly gory ass kill for this franchise. He's on the front of the car, makes a bunch of dumb decisions before that, but then the car crashes, knocks out Ghostface, and he gets a pipe through the head. He's like sitting there twitching a little bit. Again, like I said, pretty gruesome and pretty gory for the Scream franchise. So Officer Richards, I'm actually going to say, this is another one. It could probably be not in my movie just because it's not great by any means. Yeah, actually, I was thinking about Decent Knife Swipe just because it is so, gory, but it's not great. I'm going to put it here. Yeah, put it there, maybe, I guess. I'm not going to worry about how they rank inside of the actual categories too much, but yeah, I'd put it there. I'd put it above his pal. Two dumbasses going down together. But up next was one of the potential Ghostface killers that they originally had written in the script, potentially, which is Hallie, Sid's roommate. Character they just don't even flesh out at all in Scream 2. She's just there. She doesn't really do anything other than bug Sid occasionally to join the sorority. And it's I don't give a shit. Move on, guys. But yeah, her death kind of similar. It's kind of a dumb death. She's kind of a stupid character in this movie. She's like, wait, Sydney, what are you doing? And then she just gets Ghostface just hops out, teleports and hops out from behind the things next to the road there, stabs her at least once, and then just tosses her onto the ground. Maybe stabs her more later to finish off the job. I don't know, but a dumb death nonetheless. Yeah, I think Hallie, it's got to go into must have been a virgin. Just because it's just a stupid scene. It's not a cool kill by any means. So up next is going to be Jerry O'Connell, the boyfriend, Derek, coming in next. He's on stage. He's strung up there on stage, and Mickey's doing the whole, come on, man. It's okay. We got her. It's fine. We could admit we're in this together. That's kind of fun, but just gets shot in the heart, which is, I guess, a little bit shocking because it's so sudden, but it's so quick. I think they could have done a better kill scene. And now I get every kill scene for every character cannot be crazy and 15 minutes and all of I get that, but still just gets quickly shot in the heart. Again, shocking, but not great. I'm actually going to put it into must have been a virgin. It's not a memorable one by any means, but Yeah, I think it belongs there. We're not going to go on too long about that one, but yeah, of course, after that is Mrs. Loomis and Mickey, but we're not going to get into those. But Derek is the last one we're going to talk about really in Scream 2. So moving right along to the least gory, least scary, least brutal Scream movie in the franchise, and mainly because of the Columbine shooting, you know, they had to rewrite the whole movie. It's going to be Scream 3, of course, from 2000. So the opening to Scream 3 is Cotton's opening. Of course, first of all, it's going to be his girlfriend that gets killed, Christine. You know, she thinks that it's Cotton because of the whole voice changer thing. She's like, no, stay away from me. She's swinging the golf club, I think it is, and then just gets stabbed in the back. It's nothing special. She's got to go into, must have been a virgin. You know, it's not a great one. Where would I put it? Would I put it above this one? Not really. I don't think it deserves to be talked about very, very much. Cotton's kill is a little bit better. I think this opening, it's okay. It's not very memorable by any means, but you know, it's got the whole thing going on. He's fighting off his girlfriend, then also fighting off Ghostface and all of that. But then we get introduced to the dumb voice changer stuff, which just allows Ghostface to be, he can manipulate anyone anytime he wants, make them do anything he wants because he can change his voice, which I get is something that makes sense nowadays, but still kind of stupid nonetheless. But yeah, so Cotton, you know, gets beat up a little bit, stabbed a little bit, and then, you know, executed typically like they like to do off screen to set up the title card as the final knife stab, we assume, goes down, I don't know, into his face or neck or chest or heart, whatever you want to say. But an okay scene nonetheless. I wouldn't say it's, you know, the worst death or anything in the franchise, but it's not great. I'm just going to say, yeah, sure, not in my movie, you know? Yeah, why not? It's Cotton's death scene. It's kind of a fun opening, but doesn't blow your hair back by any means, in my opinion. So up next, it's going to be one of the fun characters that they add into in Scream 3, because there's a lot of them that are just kind of fun. Jenny McCarthy's character, Sarah Darling, you know, and her scene is actually pretty fun. I like it, you know. It's very Scream 3. They're involving all the mutant. She ends up in the area with the costumes and the movie props. She's like, oh, great, a fucking knife. She picks it up and it's a fake knife. It's all rubbery and all kinds of other stuff. And then eventually just gets killed. But Ghostface is kind of popping out of the costumes. And then eventually he smashes her through like the window of the door and then stabs her in the back. Again, not a crazy, like, eventual finality to the kill, but I kind of like the scene. And again, it feels very Hollywood, very Scream 3. It's how a kill would go down on kind of a behind-the-scenes movie set prop area like this. But yeah, so Sarah, I'm actually going to put it into decent knife wipe. Yeah, I think it'd be behind some of these. But yeah, I think a decent knife wipe. It's just an overall fun scene. So up next after Sarah there is going to be Stephen Stone, the bodyguard guy. You know, he gets beaten up in the trailer. Ghostface is using, I think, like a frying pan to beat him up. But eventually, like, the stab in the back is what really does it. And then he walks into the house and just kind of falls over. So yeah, of course, not memorable by any means, but not the worst. I think still like a fun scene because, you know, it doesn't like completely happen off screen. It's not like completely just a throwaway, or they don't just find some random person. It's, you know, we get to see some of it. You know, and he's a big ass guy, so you want to see how Ghostface is going to potentially maybe be able to take this guy down. So yeah, Steven, not in my movie. I think that's where it should go for old Steven there. And then up next is going to be Tom. The good old gas explosion, you dumbass. What a scene. I actually think the scene's kind of funny. Should he have smelt the gas? Whatever. Yeah, of course. But I think it's pretty hilarious how he just explodes like that and the entire house explodes. Everyone has to jump and fall. And it's kind of different for the Scream franchise too, but not great, but pretty funny. Like that kill can definitely give me... That could definitely give me a pretty good little chuckle, without a doubt. Yeah, sure. Put him right in there. Not in my movie, but we're not going to worry, like I said, worry too much about like the rankings within the categories too much. But yeah, kind of in that area, I would say, for old Tommy boy. So up next is going to be Angelina, another character who was almost going to be actually revealed as Ghostface. There's a lot of theories that people still believe she's alive. She wasn't included on, I think, the Scream 3, I think it was the DVD. They have a little booklet that talks about the people who died in the movie, and she was left off of that. So a lot of people have kind of had a conspiracy around her surviving the movie, but yeah, we're going to say that she was dead. Hers, not memorable. She was stabbed in the chest and then dragged away as Gail and Jennifer just look down the stairway and see her just being like pulled away with her eyes open. And they're like, ah, and they start yelling and all that. So yeah, very lackluster, not a great kill by any means. So I think it's going to go into must have been a virgin for me because of that reason. Yeah. So up next is going to be Tyson gets to die in the Halloween H2O house in a kind of fun way. You know, he gets stabbed and then he's trying to run away, and then Ghostface does like a rug pull on him and literally makes him do a flip and maybe break his neck or hurt his neck or something like that. And then he just gets thrown right off the balcony and lands by the pool there. You know, it's okay, I guess. Not crazy memorable or anything like that, but I think it's decent. I think it's decent. Yeah, Tyson, I think you're going to go into decent. Back half of decent for me. So up next is going to be Jennifer Jolie. A surprisingly mediocre death for her from Ghostface. Fights Ghostface a little bit and then just gets stabbed in the gut and then falls through the one-way mirror kind of a thing. Yeah, no, it's not great. That one's going to go into must have been a virgin. So yeah, for Jennifer. So up next is going to be John Milton. Lance Henriksen is not an android in this movie. Actually does die in this one. The old throat slit. Roman has him and then, you know, slits his throat and plans on framing Sid with the voice changer, saying that Sid killed him as revenge for the stuff that happened to her mom. Yeah, I mean, it's not great. It's just a little throat slit that happens there. I think it adds a little bit to the end of the movie, spices things up a bit, but again, not a great one. I'm going to put it into must have been a virgin. Doesn't really add a lot to the movie by any means. And then, of course, not going to talk about Roman. Roman's the next kill of the movie. So that's it for Scream 3. So moving right along to a totally new era for the franchise. Wes Craven had to usher in a very different time for the genre and also keep the fans of some of the original movies happy. Kind of an interesting time for the Scream franchise after, you know, post-Saw, post-Final Destination, post just like all the gory shit, Hostel. So we got Scream 4 from 2011. And there's a lot of blood in this movie at times. It gets pretty crazy. So this is the opening that people kind of, it's pretty polarizing. Not everybody likes this opening. It's like the opening within an opening within an opening. All these fake outs going on with the stab movies and all that. But the first death in the opening is going to be Trudy, and she gets stabbed in the chest. It's kind of like a jump scare. Ghostface pops out of nowhere, and you know, it shows us, you can't really see it, but Scream 4 is going to use CGI for the first time with the knives in particular as it stabs into people. And if you really look closely on some of them, like the publicist, hers in the stomach, you can kind of tell it doesn't really look like it's going in. Like there's no real like practical effects there. Maybe that takes away from some of the stuff in Scream 4 for you. I don't think it's all that noticeable. But anyways, Trudy's death there, you know, it's not a great one, but I do think what adds a little bit to this scene, for me personally, and now if you're not my age, you might not give a shit, but there's a little bit of nostalgia here. She's got the Sidekick phone. You remember the phone that kind of flipped, the screen like flipped? It's like a landscape style phone with a big keyboard. Pretty cool ass design for a phone. She's using that. You know, they're looking at like the pixelated pictures on the phone and things on the old Sidekick. But anyways, I'm going to put it into not in my movie just because it's just a little fun, you know, a little bit fun for me. Up next is going to be her friend Sherry, who dies quickly to the hands of Ghostface, but it's a pretty like gurgling, bloody throat slit. It's pretty damn bloody, and the shot lingers for a fair amount of time on her. Not amazing, but tells you that, yeah, Scream 4 is going to be pretty bloody. Like, we saw throat slits, of course, in Scream 2, Scream 1, and et cetera, but this is kind of gonna be some more blood. It's gonna linger a little bit longer. So yeah, not in my movie for her. And then some more, you know, kills in the opening. We got Rachel here, Anna Paquin, kind of the surprise there, stabbed twice by the voice of Elsa, Kristen Bell, you know, in this moment. They're just hanging out. And you're like, oh shit, she's gonna kill her right there as they're watching a stab movie. You know, stabs her, like I said, a couple times, but not amazing, but it's kind of like a little bit fun. This one could easily go into Must Have Been a Virgin. But yeah, we'll put it back half of Not in My Movie, just because you're going to go, oh, damn. Maybe wasn't expecting that. Possibly, I guess. Yeah, and then next is going to be the last two in the opening, because it's like an opening within an opening within an opening. So up next is going to be Marnie, who gets killed off screen. The other girl, Jenny, hears something, goes downstairs, and she got probably killed before then, and then her body gets thrown through the window. It's kind of like a jump scare kind of a thing. But yeah, off screen, doesn't really add a lot to the scene at all. There's no real chase sequence or tension or anything. So I'm going to put that one into Must Have Been a Virgin, just, somewhere there. Not the worst kill in the franchise, but not memorable. And then Jenny actually does get a little bit of a chase scene, a little bit, nothing great. Gets stabbed. She goes into the garage. The garage like closes on her. I don't know if that made her not able to move better after that. Who the hell knows? Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. But still, yeah, Jenny there. And then, it's the title card, right? So she's getting executed right as the title card cuts in. And yeah, but still, she at least gets like a little bit of a chase scene. So I'm going to say Not in My Movie, That's kind of where I'll put it for that. So moving right along, though, to the actual real characters in the movie. This character, not in the movie a lot, doesn't really do anything in the movie. But the post scene of her death, you're like, holy shit. Like, yeah, clearly this is post-Saw, post-Hostel, post-whatever, And there's just a lot of blood. And Sydney is like, damn. And I'm also thinking, again, in Scream 7, I'm like, Sid, what are you doing? You should be like in Scream 3, just go hide somewhere. Like, you're just getting people killed. Make it stop. Make it make sense. But instead, Sid is like, no, I'm going to have a family, have a husband, have a kid, at least one, and because that'll be a great idea, and name that kid after somebody who was murdered by Ghostface. Another great... That's a tangent. Let's get back to the kills. Anyways, again, Olivia. So yeah, Olivia, they're talking, the friends are talking because Olivia lives next door. They're talking on the phone, and then Ghostface shows up and just slices her the hell up. And we see her on the bed. She's gutted there. Her insides are out. And it's not like some of the other scenes where we see the insides out and it's kind of far away. It's like, you see it, man. It is right there for Olivia. And there is blood all over the place. And for me, at least, I was like, damn, this is kind of different for the Scream franchise, whether you love it, whether you hate it, whatever. But yeah, not a great kill by any means. But I don't know, this one, I guess because it's kind of shocking, because you're like, wow, that's a lot of blood for Scream. Scream's had a lot of blood, the end of the original and whatever, but that's a lot of blood, man. So it's kind of shocking in that regard, but not great. Up next is going to be the publicist, Rebecca, who gets stabbed in the stomach. Looks a little fake, not great, but then gets thrown off the parking garage onto the news van as they're having a news conference there. It's just like, bam, holy shit. Again, not amazing, but I do laugh when I see this kill and just the whole like orchestra of having her body thrown onto a news van. It's kind of fun. But do I want to put it into decent knife wipe? Maybe. This is one of those where it could go in Not in My Movie. I could see you putting it in the last category. It could easily go in that category as well. It's not great by any means. I think this one, I'm actually going to put it in Not in My Movie. It's not amazing by any means. And I mean, the next one is not either. Deputy Haas here. This guy just gets stabbed in the back. Yeah, nothing really to write home about here. It's going to go into Must Have Been a Virgin. I'm not saying it's necessarily the last or anything like that, but it's going to go into Must Have Been a Virgin somewhere. But Deputy Perkins, his death is a little bit better. Is it believable? I don't know, man. He gets stabbed right into the forehead with a fucking knife and then gets out of his car and walks around. I get the human body probably in circumstances like this is still alive and still ticking for a little bit, even if it's like a definitely you're dead kind of a blow. They always say like you get decapitated and your head is still alive for a tiny bit of time. Anyways, it's a funny one. It's one of those where you're like, oh, damn, a knife right in the forehead? Like, that's kind of crazy. And he's kind of blind swinging. He can't see or anything like that. And then he says, fuck Bruce Willis, and then falls on the ground. You know, it's kind of funny. Like, it's one of those, I didn't see Scream 4 in the theater, unfortunately, in 2011 when it came out, but it's one of those where you could see a theater reacting to it, laughing or just being like, oh, that's, you know, that's kind of crazy or silly or whatever, or dumb. But I put it into, oh man, does it go into decent? Sure, we'll do decent knife wipe. That's another one that could easily go into not in my movie, but we'll put it there. I think it works because it does. It's one from Scream 4 that I do remember, and it does make me laugh. So, yeah. Anyways, up next is going to be Kate Roberts. This one, lackluster. You know, like, what are you doing, Kate? Why were you down there so low by the mail thing? What's going on here? And then the knife goes through it. Would it really kill her? That one stab partially? Like, it's not the whole knife. It's just partially through the mail thing. I guess it could have been the whole knife, but yeah, lackluster for sure. I think her death belongs in must have been a virgin. Obviously, she was not a virgin, but you get what I'm saying. I think it belongs there. So after that is going to be our old pal, Robbie Mercer. A pretty fun character in this franchise, I think. Kind of underrated. I think he adds a little something to this movie. And yeah, you know, he loves movies like we do. And, you know, he gets stabbed, we don't know how many times, but a bunch of times. You know, he's at the house at the end there, outside, gets caught alone, and then kind of unique with his death, we don't see this very often. This is something they could have done with Randy as well, trying to negotiate with the killer, like, hey, I'm a virgin, dude, you can't kill me, or whatever, you know, and in this one, he's like, wait, he's like, I'm gay, and then the killer's like, huh? Like, no, that doesn't work, and then, you know, kills him. It's kind of funny. And he's a pretty fun character. Oh man, does it deserve to be in decent knife wipe though? I'm gonna put it in like the damn near. Can I get in front of you, bastard? I'm gonna put it damn near the front of not in my movie. It could go into decent knife wipe because I think it's just kind of, you know, it's kind of a fun little scene. And I like the fact that he tried, being the big movie fan that he is, he tried to use, like I said, the rules with the killer and negotiated using the rules, like the killer's breaking the rules because he probably assumed whoever the killer is a big movie fan, big stab fan, knows the rules, is trying to emulate some of these things. So that's kind of fun. But anyways, up next, damn, Trevor, it's going to be you, man. Sorry, dude, your death is kind of a brutal one, but I guess you didn't have to survive with that pain for too long. But yeah, Jill's boyfriend, the eventual Ghostface killer, Jill Roberts. And yeah, apparently he cheated on her, and that's not a good idea because Jill is fucking crazy. So congratulations, dude. You got shot in both heads. You got shot right in your dick and right in your forehead. So just 2 tapped right there. Again, like I said, really painful, but fortunately for old Trevor, only there for just a moment. Obviously a classic red herring type of a character in this franchise. And, you know, I think it goes into not in my movie. You know, it's not a great one, of course, but still, you're kind of, especially us guys out there, I'm sure we're like, ooh, damn, you know, you get a little reaction. But Trevor, he is the last kill in non-Ghostface that gets killed in Scream 4. So obviously after that, it's Charlie and Jill. All right, guys, I know I probably should have included Charlie on this list. I didn't realize that until after I filmed the video. Because yes, Charlie was technically killed by a Ghostface. He was killed by Jill. So yeah, should have probably have been on this list. Don't hate me. It was a mistake. Let's move on. Moving along. 11 years later, talking about a new era for the franchise, a new era in the genre. Scream 5. Scream. Dumb title, but I get what they're going for. Scream 5. From 2022, the Radio Silence crew kicking off this new era for the franchise. And the first kill is going to be Vince, Stu Macher's nephew, going down in this movie outside of the bar. Kyle Gallner, you know, he's picking fights with the high school kids. Big fan of Kyle Gallner, an actor that I really have a lot of respect for. I love seeing him in movies. I try to go out and see anything that he's in, but yeah, it's kind of a quick kill, but I think the scene is pretty cool. Like Ghostface is in his car, kind of blinds him with the lights, that classic thing. Then just gets yoink, just stabbed right in the neck there. Get a little Ghostface knife wipe going on as well. But it's not memorable. I kind of wish his character was in the movie more. I think they could have done a little bit more. And I think he belongs to being not in my movie, somewhere in not in my movie for old Vince. So sorry, Kyle. Love you, man. Moving right along. Next is Sheriff Judy. This kill is kind of a crazy one because it's in the middle of the day outside of her house. It's like, oh, holy shit. Was anyone watching? Did anyone see this? Because if you did, you're like, damn, dude, crazy. Like she gets stabbed over and over and over. She's rushing back to her house. She thinks her son Wes is in danger. She gets stabbed like 9 or 10 times right there on the porch. Well, shit, now we got to sell this house, I guess. We're going to have to put in some new cement there because that's clearly going to be stained. That's probably not good for the resale, guys. You know what I'm saying? Judy, you're going to go into, I guess, man, decent knife wipe, maybe for Judy. Yeah, I mean, sure. Just because every time I've seen this kill, I'm like, oh, damn, middle of the day, huh, Ghostface? But it could easily go into not in my movie. But it's pretty damn bloody and pretty damn brutal. So, but anyways, again, yeah, I could easily go into not in my movie. So moving right along to her son shortly after, you're like, Wes, man, you're probably screwed. Wes's scene is not an amazing one, but it's kind of a holy shit moment because especially on a big theater screen, you're sitting there like, oh man, oof. That's kind of crazy. The knife, not only is it one of those instances where it's like slowly into the neck, but and then it goes out the other side and it looks pretty real. Like the skin is kind of moving around. You can see the shape of the knife underneath his skin. It's a pretty nasty one. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that needs to go into decent knife wipe. Not amazing, not a memorable, crazy one, but makes you a little squeamish. You know what I mean? So, the next one, speaking of not a memorable one, yeah, this is dog shit. It's a dumb one, but I get why it's in the movie. It doesn't take away from anything, but it's just a random cop that had his throat slit. Tara finds him in the hospital. He's just like on the ground. She's like, what the hell? Something crazy is going on here, So, happens off screen. Don't even know the guy. Don't even know what happened. So that one's going to go into must have been a virgin. Not surprising there for that guy. But up next is one that I'm probably going to talk about a little bit longer than Random Cop Dude. It's going to be a cop that we know a lot about. Deputy Dewey, Dwight Dewey Riley. Easily, I've talked about this before many times in my ranking videos, my Scream 5 videos, whatever have you. But if I had to make a list of dumbest scenes in the entire Scream franchise, I've never made that video. Let me know if I should. I don't know if I ever will, but spoiler, this scene, this kill might be number 1. It is just, and I have no problem again with killing off a main character. I do not. I actually think that's a great idea. Dewey probably should have died earlier in the franchise because in Scream 5, he doesn't really add much. It's like, oh, we're going to do this. It's going to be kind of like Laurie Strode, she's just drunk, living off the grid a little bit, avoiding people. Her life's kind of gone downhill, had some divorces. And it's like, okay, it's dumb. I get what you're going for, but it's kind of dumb. It's a dumb way to use Dewey. But that's off topic. Going back to his actual death, it is corny as hell. The writers who scripted that scene, how they shot it, so stupid. He's like, oh, this big dramatic reloading his gun. The bullets fall on the ground. Oh, his phone rings. Ghostface kills him. And then also on top of that, it's Amber doing this. I mean, Dewey's a bumbling idiot throughout this entire franchise, even though we do love him and he's injured and we get all that. But Amber is just suplexing this dude and gutting him. And come on, man, it's kind of dumb. It's not kind of dumb. It's really dumb. Kill Dewey. Amazing. But the way it's filmed, it kind of reminds me, actually, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever thought about this before, kind of reminds me of the mob scene with Michael Myers in Halloween Ends. The mob scene where they're all kind of taking turns trying to kill Michael Myers, and it's shot horribly. The big close-ups and weird angles, and it kind of reminds me of this scene. Dewey's death scene, the way it's filmed, the way it's scripted, the way it goes up, it's just dumb. Very, very dumb. So I hate it more than Randy's death. It's very stupid. I'm not saying it's the worst in the franchise. I don't know, but it definitely belongs in must have been a virgin for sure. So yeah, up next, the last one we're going to talk about in Scream 5 is going to be Liv. Liv. Quick death. There maybe would have been some moments in time where you thought Liv was potentially one of the Ghostface killers. Maybe, I guess. You know, and Liv is like, I'm not a killer. And then Amber is like, I know. And then boom, just like snipes her. Great shot, by the way. Just snipes her right in the head. Again, quick. But I feel like it was pretty shocking. I remember that moment in the theater. I was like, oh, damn, that's kind of crazy. Because up until this point in the franchise, that's not typically what we've seen from a Ghostface killer when they kind of reveal themselves at the end, you know, at all. Kind of a shocking way to reveal yourself. I mean, I do think the way they revealed Richie, copying the original Scream at the bottom of the stairs, kind of dumb. But Amber's, it's kind of unique, you know? She's like, I'm here, bitches, and just blows her head off, essentially. So kind of shocking, not crazy memorable, but I think because it was so shocking, yeah, I would probably put it in, man, it could go in decent knife wipe just because it's like, whoa, crazy. That's kind of unique for the franchise, but I'd probably put it in like not in my movie / decent knife wipe-ish, kind of in that area. So if you would have it higher, don't kill me because, you know, it could. But anyways, yeah, like I said, Liv, last Ghostface kill in Scream 5. And that means, of course, moving right along to Scream 6. Shortly after Scream 5, came out in 2023, and it's an opening that I do really, really like in this franchise. So yeah, the first kill in Scream 6 is going to be Laura Samara Weaving. You know, it's kind of a fun scene. She's like nervously waiting for a date at this bar, and then like a dumbass, she should know better, of course, but she goes into a dark alley and then gets surprised and gets killed by Ghostface. And her scream is great. I mean, that is a loud, crazy scream. And she gets stabbed like over 10 times. Like, it is very bloody. Once again, lets you know Radio Silence is not messing around with their Ghostface. They, you know, for all the flaws in their movies, I think Scream 5 is easily one of the worst movies in this franchise, but they can make a brutal Ghostface killer without a doubt. And the Ghostface here in this opening is gruesome, and it's bloody. And then we get that line from Ghostface says, "Now I see something red." And then the crazy part is, and it's so refreshing, man, 6 movies into the franchise, you're like, all right, cutting to the title card, obviously. Nope, Ghostface takes off the mask, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? And makes this scene just a lot of fun, man. You know, it's out of all the flaws in the Radio Silence tenure in the Scream franchise, they've done a lot of things great. This is one of those moments where I'm like, all right, guys, our creative minds kind of peaked right here. Like, this is some smart stuff. I really enjoy utilizing this New York setting, making it new and fresh, but not too much. Not like you're trying to force something down our throat or anything like that. And I think Laura's death, Samara Weaving, not only is she a good actress, it's just a fun scene, man. And I think it's got to go into It's a Scream, baby. Yeah, I think it does. Definitely. It's a fun one for sure. So up next, I mean, just continuing the opening, we're going to talk about the opening here for just a minute, is going to be Greg, Jason's partner in crime. Jason is the guy who's revealed underneath the Ghostface mask, killing Samara Weaving. And then Jason, or Greg, is a character we don't meet, but he's on the phone and, you know, gets the Mrs. Voorhees treatment. The head in the fridge, like his body parts in there. It's like, damn, that's kind of crazy for the Scream franchise. You know, we get the fun little Jason Takes Manhattan cameo there on the TV screen. Like, that's pretty fun. And yeah, you're like, that's bloody as hell. But it's all off screen. The whole scene, like I said, is fun. I would put old Greg here into, I'd put it into like not in my movie. Do I know where? You know, not in my movie, somewhere. But right after that, just moments later, is Jason. And I think it's fun how they've got the stab shrine in their apartment in New York. You know, they killed their film teacher and all that's going down. Just everything that I'm seeing in this opening, I think is fun and new and fresh and unique. And yeah, but Jason, he gets stabbed in the back and then gets stabbed a hell of a lot of times in the stomach as well. And then I do like the line that we get from Ghostface there. Of course, it's one of those where we're slashing to the title card, traditional for the franchise, but Ghostface gives us that line, "Who gives a fuck about movies?" Bam, the opening, we pan out, we see New York, we see the Scream 6 title card. I think it's fun. I think Jason's deserves to be in decent knife wipe for me. It's just a fun way to end that whole new fresh opening. Up next is going to be, nothing crazy, nothing really to talk about too much, but I'm just going to lump these kills together. It's the two guys, they get killed in the convenience store right as Ghostface walks in, and they're like confronting him like, "Hey dude, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you doing to these girls?" And then they get killed right off the bat. So it's just kind of two random guys. One of them gets stabbed a bunch of times in the stomach. The other one gets stabbed in the neck. It's nothing memorable. Like it doesn't deserve to really be anywhere special, but yeah, we'll just put it like somewhere in Must Have Been a Virgin. Definitely nothing to really to remember forever. But anyways, and then after that, just moments later is the guy who either works at the convenience store or owns it, the guy with the shotgun. Ghostface gets the shotgun and then just blows this dude away at point blank. You're like, damn, man, that was probably a nasty scene to see. That was probably pretty damn gory, but again, nothing memorable. So just get shot with a shotgun. I know a lot of people hate Ghostface running around with a shotgun. Doesn't really feel like this franchise, but I've never really hated that. But after this is going to be Kittredge from the Mission Impossible franchise. If you've seen those movies, you know what I'm talking about. Anytime I see this guy in a movie, I always think of Mission Impossible, especially the original, but it's Sam's doctor and gets stabbed. Here's something at his front door, doorbell, whatever, goes up to it, and then Ghostface is there, breaks the window, starts beating his head against the metal door with the window, and then stabs him, not in the nose, it's kind of like face, cheek area kind of a thing. You're like, whoa, that's kind of crazy, but it's nothing too memorable. But damn, Not in My Movie is really filling up. I hope this list lets me continue if I have any more in that category. I don't know. I don't think I've had this many in one category before. Holy shit. Well, hope for the best. All right, guys. Well, here, we'll see how it goes. So all right, up next after Kittredge is going to be, the whole scene where Ghostface is attacking them in the apartment and then they're kind of running around and whatever. Mindy finds some dude that Quinn was hooking up with in the bathtub, all chopped to hell. Bloody. He's in there just all bloody as hell. It's all off screen. We don't know who it is. We don't even know what's going on. So that one's got to go in Must Have Been a Virgin. I'd probably put it, way back for Must Have Been a Virgin for that guy. And this next one is definitely one of the more memorable kills in this movie, in my opinion. It's a white knuckle moment. I think it's pretty tense, even though I saw Scream 6 multiple times in the theater, and every single time I saw it, I was like, man, this is pretty intense, just the way it's filmed. Maybe it's because I have a fear of heights, but it's Annika, however you say her name. It's her ladder fall thing. But yeah, this girl, Annika, she was probably not going to survive anyways because, she got stabbed in the stomach and it got pulled up and pretty much gutted. But she's trying to get across this ladder and Ghostface is shaking the whole thing and she eventually falls and hits her head on the dumpster and then falls on the ground. But it's a pretty crazy, like I said, memorable scene in this movie. I think it is pretty damn tense. I would actually say that this one belongs, man, it's very borderline. It's a Scream Baby and decent knife wipe, like towards the top half of that one. Man, where would I have it? Man, honestly, I'm going to put it towards the front of decent knife wipe, honestly. I don't think it's like amazing, but it's pretty damn good at times. And it's an effective scene. And I'll give the Radio Silence crew credit for that because it's pretty good. All right, up next is going to be Brooks. Not a good kill. A character we don't know. Just the dude that Gail is dating. His name's Brooks. Gets killed off screen, thrown through a bookshelf, and then it's done. Yeah, dude. I don't need to talk about you, really. Must Have Been a Virgin. Not memorable at all. So, and Brooks, actually, because of the plot armor, I believe is the last kill in Scream 6. Probably should have been some more characters that died, but other than, obviously, Quinn and Detective Bailey and Ethan, the characters who were unfortunately revealed as the Ghostface killer. It's not a great reveal, but yeah, those are the last ones in Scream 6. So moving right along to the brand new movie in the franchise, which has some very effective kills to me. I think Kevin Williamson and the rest of the crew, hats off to you. I think it just got the job done and made the kills and the kill scenes and the cat and mouse moments pretty damn effective. And I get it's a pretty straightforward slasher movie, but I kind of loved those scenes, man. And I kind of really enjoyed Scream 7 in a lot of ways. Yes, flawed, but let's get into the kills in Scream 7. And again, spoilers, of course, obviously spoilers. So up first, going to be the 2 kills in the opening of the movie. The opening of the movie takes place at Stu Macher's house. It's got like this, it's like an Airbnb experience kind of thing. There's like these animatronic ghost faces, and then one of them ends up being a real ghost face. And the first guy that gets killed is Scott, who I guess is a YouTuber as well. I don't know, never seen his channel, but a guy named Scott. He's this big stab horror movie fan. He's really enjoying this experience. His girlfriend's just kind of along for the journey, doesn't really care. But yeah, gets stabbed a couple times. But man, I really liked this kill. It is subtle, but he gets stabbed in the side of the head, the temple, whatever. And I remember I've seen Scream 7 twice in theaters, and the first theater experience, I could see this kill perfectly. The way they had it lit, it wasn't too dark. The second one, it was a different theater. It was kind of dark. I couldn't really see all the detail, but the first one, you see his eye as the knife is slowly going into his head. His eye like moves to the side, just the one eye. I think it's great, man. It was like a kill where I was like, oh, damn. I reacted in the theater. Scott's is pretty damn fun. It's not like the greatest kill ever, but I think it deserves to go into It's a Scream, baby. I like the scene. It's not a great opening. It might be the worst opening in the franchise, maybe, but it's still fun, and it's still a fun scene nonetheless. It's just the way it all goes down. Madison, that's the girlfriend, not as good, but still fun. Fights Ghostface. Hers kind of lingers a little bit longer. Scott's is more sudden, but fights him off, and then eventually if you've seen it in the trailer, like, you know what I'm talking about. It pretty much spoils the entire thing. Thanks, guys. Appreciate those spoilers in the goddamn trailers, but I digress. She eventually falls off the chandelier. Ghostface happens to roll over right when she's falling. She falls on the knife, and then what they don't really show you in the trailer is she then gets burned alive, and you're kind of like, oh damn, like that's gruesome as well. Like, whoever this Ghostface is does not care. But yeah, it's okay. I think maybe decent knife wipe for her, because it's pretty fun. Like, it's not quick, it's not stupid, it's pretty fun. It's decent. I think it's pretty much fits that definition. The next kill is, I don't have a picture of the person, but it was like a random stagehand guy, however you say that, somebody who's helping with the production, the stage production. He's helping with McKenna Grace's character, helping her to like move around and practice and do the lights and all that stuff. He gets killed off screen, and then eventually I think they show us his throat got slit. We hear it as she's like up on the wires. We can hear it, so obviously something happened, but off screen, like I said, it's just one of those kills. It's like nothing. There's nothing to talk about here. Really, goes in there for sure. So, and then right after that, though, is a kill we definitely do see, and it's very gruesome. It's Hannah Thurman is her name. It's one of Tatum's best friends. Again, played by McKenna Grace. She's up on these like wires practicing her thing, and then the guy who's handling the wires he dies. So she's like, I'm stuck up here. Like, what's going on? And then Ghostface comes out of that door up the stair thing, and then she's swinging, and Ghostface is trying to slice her a little bit, but kind of just playing with his food. Slices her arm pretty bad. Slices, I think, another part of her body pretty bad. And then eventually just like goes under her, and it's like it's a bag of water or something, and just puts the knife right underneath her as she's swinging by and just guts her. Definitely a moment where you get an audience reaction. It's like, oof, that's pretty damn nasty. Her insides are just falling all over the place. Yeah, pretty nasty one. Not crazy amazing, but I think it's effective, man. I do. I would put it up here pretty high. Probably not in It's a Scream, baby, but I could see people putting it up there. Because it's a gruesome and memorable one for sure, and a big part of that is McKenna Grace. She's kind of a rising star for sure. So the next one is going to be the first Ghostface. They do something similar in Scream 7 that they did in Scream 6's opening. They reveal one of the Ghostface killers. Also kind of reminds me of Hard Eyes a little bit. I'm not going to spoil anything too much, but it's just how they kind of do the reveal and how it goes down and when it goes down. Kind of interesting. But this guy, so it's one of those moments where after the big fight in Sydney's house, which has a lot of flaws, but that's a topic for another time. This Ghostface is outside. There's a scuffle, falls into the road, and then wham, just gets smashed by a car. You're like, whoa, holy shit. Definitely an audience reaction kind of a moment, and a little theatrical fan service, a little fake looking how the car is like perfectly twisted and the perfect angle is on so we can see the three people getting out of the car, but fun nonetheless. Kind of gave me, I don't know, maybe goosebumps you could say in that moment, because I was like, hell yeah, this is kind of dope. But, you know, Gail runs over the Ghostface, and then Chad and Mindy get out of the car as well. And you're like, all right, hell yeah, that's kind of cool. That was fun. So yeah, they go with the whole like escaped mental patient route, like Michael Myers kind of a thing for this guy. His name is Carl Gibbs. He's one of the Ghostface killers from the hospital who escaped. But yeah, big audience reaction and a fun little twist, like I said. I actually think I'm going to put this one in It's a Scream Baby. It could easily go in just a decent, but I kind of liked it. I think it's pretty effective. But yeah, a pretty memorable moment in Scream 7 for me. So up next is going to be Chloe, another one of Tatum's close friends. It's at her parents' bar that they own or whatever. She's making pizza. She's doing that whole thing. There's a little scuffle in the kitchen. There's a little scuffle going on. Pretty unbelievable when you consider who is actually underneath the Ghostface mask, who I'm pretty sure is Anna Camp in this moment. And she's just whooping ass. But this girl, Chloe, eventually she gets like smashed through, I think it's these glass bottles or glass cups. And then one of them like goes deep into her neck and she's just kind of gurgling and bleeding out there. It's not memorable, but earlier in the movie, this is a small thing. We don't usually get to see or kind of meet the parents of some of the random victims in the Scream franchise. But there is that moment there after the whole theater incident where McKenna Grace's character gets gutted, where she's sitting there with her parents. And I thought about that when she died. I was like, damn, that kind of sucks. You know what I mean? So, but still, not a great death scene, but still a fun, that whole bar scene is kind of fun. Just the scuffle and everything. It's kind of fun, you know? So I guess this is going to fit. There's only 2 left. So yeah, Chloe. So the next one is going to be just moments later. It's the big horror movie fan, Lucas. Always got to have one of these in the Scream franchise. He's the guy who's really obsessed with like true crime stuff and, Sydney's story and Gail's story and all that. But his kill is a unique one. Definitely one of those in Kevin Williamson's notepad of kills. He's probably always wanted to pull off, but gets his head, he's in his fight with Ghostface. Ghostface eventually like lifts his head. It's kind of a My Bloody Valentine moment, but lifts his head up onto the beer tap. The beer tap goes through the back of his head, I guess maybe out of the mouth. I don't remember exactly, but it's one of those kills you're like, dude, that's not really like a kill we usually see in the Scream franchise. It's not crazy like Terrifier 3 or anything like that, but it's kind of over the top and funny and unique. And yeah, I kind of thought it was a silly good time. And then the beer is kind of like pouring out of his mouth. It's kind of funny. Did it look fake? Yes, it looked fake, but I still think it was fun nonetheless. I'm actually going to put it into It's a Scream Baby, but it could go in decent, but It's a Scream Baby towards the last half of that category for me. So the last one, I mean, besides Marco, Ethan Embry, and besides Anna Camp, I should say T-1000 Camp, who would never die in this movie at the end. You're like, what the fuck? What is going on here? But the last non-Ghostface death, which was a person that Ghostface did kill, was actually Tatum's boyfriend, Ben, who's actually a solid character, I feel like, in this movie. I kind of wish we would have had Ben in more movies in this franchise. Scream 7 has done so well. It's going to be probably the highest grossing movie in this franchise, so we're definitely going to get a Scream 8. Would have been fun to have Ben in the next movie. I actually thought the actor was pretty solid, and don't be surprised if you see him in some big stuff pretty soon, I would say. But Yeah, so there's a big moment where Tatum goes into his car and sees that he's doing some deep fake stuff on his laptop. And she's like, holy shit, you're killing people. And she beats him and then runs away. And then eventually Ben finds her and is like, it's not me, it's not me. And she's like, yes, I know. And then they're kind of in the downtown area of the town. And then Ghostface shows up and just cuts him the hell up. He gets stabbed a bunch of times. Like I said, I mean, could they still bring him back? Maybe, I guess, but he's probably like 99% dead. But yeah, I felt like they could have kept him alive. Not a memorable death by any means, though. I think it's not the worst, but definitely belongs in like not in my movie, I would say. Oh, okay, it just makes the category bigger. But yeah, Ben, you're the last one, man, besides Ethan Embry, who got one-tapped, and Anna Camp, Jessica Bowden, who got shot a million times and stabbed a million times. But Scream 7, pretty fun movie. Maybe the most divisive one in the entire franchise, but pretty fun nonetheless. But there you go, guys. There is all of the Ghostface kills ranked in the entire Scream franchise. Holy shit. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, or just you just respected the fact that I was willing to go through this entire list and rank them. I had to get all these pictures of all these faces. Every single one of these pictures I had to get and save and upload into this tier list. It was a hell of a lot of work, and also just going through the kills and making sure I didn't miss any of them. Sorry if I did, but yeah, it was a lot of work. So yeah, leave a like on this video just for the fact of the hard work that I put into this video. But anyways, everybody, those are all the kills from Ghostface ranked in the Scream franchise. But yeah, there you go, everybody. Again, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it. If you want some more videos from me right now, you can check out some videos next to me, or check out any of the videos that I have on the channel. Ton of horror content, a lot of Scream content on the channel. So check those out if you want to. Again, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. If you don't want to miss future videos on the channel, you don't want to miss them, make sure you subscribe. That's the best way to do that. But again, thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Matt, and I will talk to you in the next one. Oh, and by the way, guys, channel merch, shirts like this, down in the description. Check them out. Really comfy, a lot of cool designs, a lot of cool stuff on the merch store. Check it out. You will not be disappointed, I do not think. So yeah, link is in the description. Anyways, guys, talk to you in the next one.